Hey everyone, welcome back to Pawpaw's Workshop. Today I have a little bit different project. The hurricane season is almost upon us, and one of the things that I want to be able to do this year is have a battery backup on my garage door opener. So today I'm replacing the old one, which quite frankly works just fine. It just doesn't have a battery backup, and I'm putting up a brand new one. Now the old one, I'm not throwing it away. I am going to take this and put it into my son's house because he doesn't have a garage door opener on one of his doors. So that is going to get recycled and reused. But let's get started and install this one today. This is the garage door opener that I chose, and it's a Chamberlain, and it has the LED light, and most important, it has the battery backup. The two remotes that come with it are pre-programmed, as well as the keyless entry for the outside of the house. Now this is not a sponsored video. I chose this Chamberlain primarily because I know of the quality of the unit and the fact that it had the battery backup. That was the key element. Now as far as the components, there's really not that many parts. It looks like a lot sitting on the table, but when you break it down, there's really not that many parts to be able to put together and have this garage door opener working. Of course, the first step is to remove the old one. Now I've already moved the arm from the garage door itself, and I have to remove the arm from this trolley. And this pin proved to be just a little bit difficult. It just did not want to slip out. So I had to have a pair of pliers and a screwdriver to help me out just a little bit. One of the most important things is, since I'm recycling this garage door opener, is to keep all the parts together. So this pin and the retainer clip will go back into the trolley. That way, there's no chance I'm being able to lose that. I do want to point out the blue wires are actually pre-wired in through the wall, and that's for the safety switches on the garage door, and it's also for the push button on the wall. Here's an up-close look at it. The push button has the blue wire on the top, the common wires in the middle, and then the blue wires for your safety switches down at the bottom. It's time to unplug the unit and begin disassembling it. I'm going to start at the front, right above the garage door itself, and remove this pin and release this bar. And that way I can rest it right on top of the cable for the garage door itself. So that will sit there just fine, and then I'll put that pin back in so it doesn't get lost. The other thing that's important to do is just take a couple of 2x4s and rest it on top of the garage door so that the garage door unit can rest very easily right there on that point. I'm going to continue by removing this bracket, and I started out with the ratchet, and I found out, guys, it's a lot easier. Just grab the impact drive and these lag screws will come out real quick. On this end of the unit, I just need to remove the two bolts that are on this sealant angle iron and be able to release the garage door unit itself. Now it really helps to have a couple of people to be able to remove the garage door opener itself, but unfortunately I'm doing this by myself, so I have to be a little bit careful and plan ahead. But once these two bolts are out, then I can just very carefully lift up this garage door opener and move it out of its position. Just take your time with this so that you don't break anything and you don't damage the unit itself. With this garage door opener out of the way now, it's time to start assembling the brand new one. And the first thing, we need to assemble this rail. This is the first piece. This is the end where the pulley is going to sit, and this is the part that's closest to the garage door. So I'm going to set that right down where it begins, and then I will take the other pieces and just snap them in. And literally that's all that's required. So you have the large straight end and you have that tapered end, and when you push them together, it just snaps in position and locks. The trolley itself is pre-assembled and it just slides into position, and you put a screwdriver right here so it doesn't run away to the other end. This piece just slides in the same way as the other pieces did. Now this bracket will be mounted right to the top of the opener, and I have the opener sitting on part of the packing so that it doesn't damage the cover on the bottom side. But now it's just time to pick up this rail, align it with these two screws, and install it. Very simple to be able to do. After putting in the two screws and hand tighten, I just tighten them with the impact drive, and this assembly with these 2 screws is done. We're over halfway finished already. Now I'm going to remove this trolley so it can slide, and I have a bolt. Now this is a stop bolt that just goes right into that hole and screws on. This prevents the trolley from accidentally going too far and smashing into the opener itself. So this is in essence a safety device, and that prevents it from going any further. At the other end is the pulley, and it has the grease already in there, which is actually really nice. The bolt, lock washer, and the nut. I'm going to just temporarily just slide that in for a moment so that I have all the components right there. Because quite frankly, you got to put the belt in at the same time that you put on this pulley. There's a tab located right here that you need to bend to a vertical position. You can take a screwdriver, and then from there I actually took a pair of pliers that helped me out to be able to bend this from that horizontal position and bent it where it's in a 90-degree position. Again, this is a safety measure. This prevents that trolley from going too far to the end. So this is very important to don't forget to bend this tab, and this tab must be in a vertical 90-degree position. And you can see what it looks like after you bend it into its correct position. And just for a reference, I have that pulley in there so that you can see it. But now it's time to add the belt. So let me just slip this pulley out. We'll put the belt in, and we'll get the belt attached. The connecting end that's mounted on the belt is the only reason that that pulley has to be out. There's not enough room for it to slip through with the pulley attached. But with the belt now in position, I can put on the bolt, lock washer, and the nut and secure the pulley in place. Next, it's time to attach this belt to the trolley. On this end, you just have the hook, and that hook just drops right into this slot, and that end of the belt is taken care of. You want to make sure now that this belt goes around that pulley and is not twisted. For the other end, you have this nut with a spring on it. This provides the tension that's necessary to be able to keep the belt tight. I'm going to unscrew this bolt so that it will slip through the hole that's on the trolley. And again, I want to make sure that this belt is not twisted at all and that it goes around as it engaged in the sprocket on the motor. The bolt itself slides through the provided hole on the trolley, and then on the other end, to attach the belt itself, you have one link of the chain that will just slip into the 2 holes. You have the little retainer piece that goes to complete the chain part itself, and then you have a retainer clip that will go on to hold everything in position. And this just simply snaps in position. Although it's not required, I find it easier just to take a flat tip screwdriver and snap that link in position. It makes it, for me at least, a whole lot easier. Now it's time to put that bolt with that spring onto the other end of this bolt and be able to tension this belt. The instructions call for hand tighten only. So you want to hand tighten this screw down just as tight as you can get it, but not with the wrenches. And the one thing that you'll notice is that the belt itself is actually pretty tight at this point. But again, hand tighten this down just as tight as you can. Look at the belt and you'll see it tight. The next step is to take the wrench and a screwdriver. Now there's a little retainer clip right there at the end that you want to be able to put the screwdriver into, and you take the wrench on the other end of that bolt, and you want to be able to turn this about a quarter of a turn. And it releases that spring and puts the final tension on the belt itself. Now we'll put the cover on the end on this sprocket, and there are just 3 screws that you have to put in to screw in this cover. Once this is done, the garage door opener itself is in essence assembled. Now it's time for the fun part. We got to get this garage door opener from the floor to the ceiling. And we're going to start by putting this mount onto the wall at the front of the garage door to be able to hold it. Now this actually has to be about 2 inches above the highest point of the garage door. The good thing is this level is right at 2 inches thick, so this works perfectly. So I can just raise the door up to the highest point, get the level in a level position and mark a line on that 2x6. From there, I wanted to make sure that everything was straight, and I grabbed the laser level to be able to do that. And I was able to put a vertical line on this garage door that went right up through to the ceiling, and you can see exactly where that bracket needs to be mounted, and that comes over to give me a center point for mounting of the garage door opener itself from the ceiling. This is an easy way to be able to do it. You can virtually eliminate all of the tape measures. So now, with that height with the pencil line marked on there, and I can use the laser level to align it in the other direction, just mark the position for the pilot holes, and I'll drill the 2 pilot holes, and then take the 2 lag screws that are provided and mount this bracket. Using the same technique that I did to remove the old one, I put the new garage door opener up. I just lifted it up over the garage door. I have it resting on a 2x4, and then I can measure exactly where the bracket needs to be. Now this garage door opener is actually a little bit longer than the old one, so that angle iron that I had on the ceiling had to be removed. Now unfortunately, it was at this point that my batteries died and I did not realize it. But here's the 2 brackets installed with my small piece going from the ceiling down to the opener itself and all bolted in position. Very straightforward, very simple to be able to do this. And because the ceiling wasn't painted, being able to locate the ceiling joist was even easier. The wiring is very, very simple. The first wire on the left, the blue, went into the brown slot, and then the common wire, and that attached the keypad itself. And then as far as the safety switches, I was using the existing wire, so I had to cut off all of the excess wire and just use the wire nuts to put it in position. If you don't have it already pre-wired, there's plenty of wire there to run new. As far as the wiring on the unit itself, the 2 blue wires on the top get twisted together, and then the 2 common wires, which is the white, get wired together also, and it goes into the white slot, and the blue wire goes into that brown slot on the right side. And that actually completes the wiring for this unit. Very simple. The safety device itself snaps onto the track itself, and when you power it up, the sending unit is orange, the receiving unit is green. If those lights are steady on, that means it's properly aligned. The unit comes with 2 openers that you can put into your cars, and it's pre-programmed. You literally have to do absolutely nothing. They're ready to go. You also have, with this particular model, an outdoor keyless unit. Again, it's pre-programmed. The only thing you need to do is put in your security code and mount it to a wall of your choosing. And it only takes 2 screws. Again, very simple to be able to install this. In addition, I did remove my old plaque that was on the wall where I had the 2 little doorbell type buttons and replaced it with a brand new one. A much simpler design, but this works perfect. And I changed the orientation so the front door works to the front and the back faces the back. And as you can see, when these 2 switches were on top of each other, it always caused confusion. Now, because they're oriented in the correct direction, horizontally versus the vertical, no more confusion and a much simpler design, so the old one goes in the trash can. As far as the battery backup itself, it just has a little door on the front. You open it up, slide the battery in, and plug in the 2 wires. And I didn't really feel the need that it was important to be able to show that because it was just so simple. The completed door works perfectly, and it actually has a soft close where it actually slows down as it closes and stops. Now this garage door unit does have some extra features. You can actually download an app and connect it to your phone and be able to control this garage door anyplace, and it will alert you even if you forget to close the door. Now I have not hooked that up yet. That's something I may do in the future, but right now my goal was to be able to get the new opener installed, working, and having that battery backup. So I appreciate you watching this video today. I hope you was able to learn a few things about how easy it is to be able to install your own garage door opener. Because quite frankly, if you hire somebody to do it, it can get pretty expensive to be able to have that done. And as you can see from this video, it's not that difficult. It does help to have a partner to be able to help you lift it up into position. So keep that in mind. So thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video real soon. Bye-bye.